Hey guys! So I need to get ready for the day. I actually need to get ready to film another video, and I felt like why not chat with y'all while I get ready. There are some things that have been on my mind that I just want to share with you guys and start a discussion about. So I'm going to be doing my makeup and doing my hair. Now my makeup is very minimal, like literally this is my makeup that I put on my face. So that shouldn't take long at all, and then I'm just going to untwist my hair and kind of moisturize it and fluff it out a little bit. So I'm going to try to make this video quick, so let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so to do my makeup, I literally had to go out and buy this mirror from TJ Maxx because I was like, when people do get ready with me, it's like, how do you look at what you're doing while you're filming at the same time? And it has this little light. Isn't this really cool? I love it. So this is what I'm going to be looking at. So if I'm not looking at you, it's because I'm looking at this, obviously. I'm going to start with my brows, and for brows I always use the Anastasia Brow Wiz. I know this is not new at all. This is the easiest thing for me because I can do like a bold brow, and sometimes I'll do like a thicker brow, but lately I just have been trying to make my makeup routine as simple as possible, so I've just been enhancing my brows. So what I'll do is I'll just fill in the spots that are kind of sparse. And then I like to extend the tail on my eyebrow just a little bit, nothing too crazy because again, this is a very natural look. But I just kind of deepen out my eyebrows because my hair is very sparse and fine. As much hair as I have on my head, I am not blessed in the eyebrow department. So I have to, you know, thicken them up, plump them up a little bit. And so basically what I want to talk about is something that has been on my mind specifically since the start of the year, but it's been on my mind really for the past like 2 years, ever since I got out of college. And that is creating the life that you want to live and creating a life that matters to you and that's purposeful for you, and you're moving within the space that you're meant to be moving in, not just working hard for the sake of working hard and succeeding in areas where you're not really called to be. And that's something that I've really been kind of like growing through ever since I left college, because you know when you're in college you have this idea of how you think your life is going to look. Like since you're 5 or 6, people are asking you, what do you want to do when you grow up? And we really have no idea of what we want to do. Some of us do, some of us definitely do, but you know, the majority of us don't. And a lot of the times I feel, especially because as a kid, like you'll say a certain response and you'll get like a ooh, or oh, I want to be an artist, and it's like, oh, that's what you want to do? You're not going to make any money. Whereas if you say, oh, I want to be a doctor, everybody congratulates you, everybody, like you get a positive response from that. And I think that from when we're kids, we're conditioned to think that we need to do something that gets positive reactions from people, that's accepted like by mainstream society. And I feel like that puts us into these spaces of just being unhappy with what we're doing in life because we're not doing what we feel inside. We're doing what other people are kind of projecting onto us as good. And I never wanted to do that, but I never wanted to live a life where I wasn't happy, but at the same time, I still didn't know what I wanted to do, like right out of college. Let me finish this brow. I think this is pretty good. I'm not looking for anything, you know, yeah. But yeah, so basically when I was in college, and it's still true to this day, my passion is people. I love talking to people. I love learning people's stories. I love sharing my story with people and just like having those heart discussions. Like that's my favorite thing in the world. When you're, say like you're new, let's say like, you know, when you have an orientation, like say you have an orientation in college or you have an orientation at work, or I notice as you get older, these moments kind of get smaller and smaller. But I love when you get together newly in a group and you like introduce yourself and you talk about where you come from, and sometimes those discussions lead into deep discussions. Like that's my favorite thing. If somebody cries, that's the cherry on top. Like I just love getting to know who people truly are. Like what is your soul, you know what I mean? And I know because of that, I know that I always wanted to work with people, but I didn't know how. So when I left college, I kind of tried to follow my passion, which was psychology. I went to school for psychology and sociology, and I tried to find jobs within that sphere, but honestly, I just really couldn't for whatever reason. Like I wasn't getting callbacks. I would probably apply to like 5 jobs a day. And this is when I had moved to Virginia. So just a little background, my husband is military, and we got married in my last semester of college, and I finished my last semester of college in Virginia online. So I went to school in person up until my last semester of college, and then I moved to Virginia to be like together as a family, and I finished it in Virginia. So once I graduated, I was like, okay, I need to find a job because I'm up here by myself. I'm not making any money. Like, I need to figure it out. And so from a point of, I wouldn't say like desperation, but it was a little bit of desperation, I was just applying for anything, and eventually I came across a job that really wasn't aligned like at all with my purpose or where I thought I would be going, but it was something that I thought that maybe I could be, and it was a corporate job. So I took that job and I really worked hard and I excelled at that job. And when I tell you I worked hard, like I broke my back for that job. I worked for always over more than 8 hours. Like I was literally putting 100% of myself into that job to the point that I didn't have anything else to give in any other areas of my life. And once I realized that, I knew that there was something, I knew that I needed to do something to change that, and I knew that I needed to change my mindset around like what I was doing with my life, because I didn't want to look up 5-10 years from now and yeah, I'm succeeding in this job that I really am not aligned with, but I have nothing fruitful happening in my relationship, in my personal life, in my own like personal development, you know what I mean? So I didn't want the job to consume me, and that's when I really started to kind of go on this journey of like, what do I truly want to do with my life, so I can take all of that energy and all of that drive that I have and put it towards something that's going to work toward my advantage and not work against me. Okay, so eyebrows are done, and now I'm going to take my concealer. I use the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in Caramel, and this is the only concealer I've ever bought, owned, and I love it. But around that time when I was looking for jobs, that's also when I started my YouTube channel. If you guys go back to like my very first video, I posted it in July of 2016, I believe, June or July. And that was like a month after I had graduated. And the reason why I started YouTube is honestly because I just always wanted to do it. Like I was always watching it, and I love seeing like other people do their hair, and it taught me a lot. Like pretty much, I wouldn't say everything. I learned a lot from like blogs too and stuff like that. But a lot of the things that I do with my hair now, I learned through trial and error from videos I saw on YouTube. And I also learned because a lot of people on YouTube didn't have my hair type. This looks creepy. Didn't have my hair type, and so the things that they did like truly didn't work for me, and it was actually detrimental to my hair. And then that's how I learned how to find things that did work for me. Like I kind of had to just do the opposite of what other people were doing. And I just like kind of spot treat, like I get my under eyes and then I spot treat a little bit, and I think I'm going to put just a little bit. And so basically YouTube was something that I naturally gravitated to, and I feel like it is something that I am called to do. And at the time I didn't really realize that, and I didn't really take myself seriously. And I feel like that is a large part of really living a life that is purposeful for you and that aligns with who you are, is to take your dreams seriously. Like your dreams aren't just something for you to have and then never do anything with. Like you're given dreams because that's your purpose. That's what you were meant to do. I feel like we all are put on the earth, and it can change. Like it can develop over the years. It can evolve over the years. As you go through things, it can change. But we do have a purpose. And I feel like if we all operated in the purpose that we had, we would all be a lot happier. Like society would be happier as a whole, and things would get done. Like people would be doing things out of light and out of love instead of out of desperation and out of like feelings of hatred and resentment, because they truly don't want to be living their lives like this every single day. And so I felt all this stuff within me, but I wouldn't really let it out as far as like following my passion and doing something that, you know, people may feel like it's unorthodox or untraditional, or they may not understand. I feel like I am a driven person, as you know, a lot of us are. I feel like I'm driven and I have a great work ethic, but I feel like also in my life I've never been encouraged or been shown the value of doing something that's less of the traditional route, like being a psychologist, which is what I initially went to school for, being a psychologist or a psychiatrist, or being a doctor, or being like this big corporate exec. Like there is definitely value in all of that, and we need those places to be filled in society, but we also do need artists. We also do need people who just help people talk about their feelings, not prescribe the medication, but just literally are there just to listen. Like, we need all types of people. The world doesn't revolve around being a doctor, being a lawyer, being, you know, like some VP of a corporate company. And so I am very thankful that I kind of had to come to make a choice, and I'm so glad, I'm so grateful that it got to this point, because if I hadn't have come to this decision, like I came to a fork in the road. I told you guys that my husband is military. It got to a point where he basically went up for orders, and it was going to be either we're going to stay in Virginia and I could stay at this job where I had worked my butt off. Like, I had been promoted, I was succeeding, I was excelling, I was the youngest person doing what I was doing in the entire region of that company. So I could either stay there, or if God wanted us to move, we were going to move where he wanted us to go, and I'd have to figure out like what was going to be for me in that area. So I kind of just decided when he went up for orders, I just decided whatever happens is supposed to happen. If we're supposed to stay in Virginia, then I'm going to stay at this job. If we get moved somewhere else besides Virginia, then this isn't for me. And we got orders to Jacksonville. I think I am good. I think I have everything. You know, I don't go for like a full coverage conceal. I honestly just kind of go for like enhancing what I already have. And that looks good to me. So this next thing that I'm doing is eyeliner. And my eyes water really like just constantly all day. And I have never found an eyeliner that stays on my waterline through that. So I like to put eyeliner just on my top lid, and I think it really helps with the look being minimal as well, because I notice when you put eyeliner on the bottom lid, it kind of intensifies things and makes it a little bit more dramatic. So I'm just going to tight line my I'm just going to tight line my upper lid. And if you can tell the difference, I just tight lined this and I haven't tight lined that. And I used to be really good at doing this without my eyes watering, but I think I just got out of practice. And now my last thing that I do for my eyes is just mascara. And I probably do like 1 or 2 coats. And so basically once we got to Jacksonville, I kind of was at a point where, and honestly before we even moved, like once I realized we were gonna move, I kind of was at a point where it's like, okay, so here I am, I just let me get this off. Okay, so I just got mascara on my eyelid, and this honestly is like an everyday thing when I do my makeup. Truly, like, it's so hard to put on mascara and eyeliner without it getting all over the place. But anyway, so I was at a place of basically like, so you just worked so hard like since you've been up here, and it really was just a year, like, but I worked really hard in just that 1 year, and I saw a lot of payoff for it. But now I have to move, and all these relationships that I've built, this work ethic that I've shown, this kind of like credibility that I've built here, it's not all for nothing, because I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about leadership, and I learned a lot about like how to maximize me. And I also, you know, made some really good friends along the way. But as far as like what I can do with this company, now that's pretty much over, because I have to move to another state. And I didn't want to repeat that same thing every single time we had to move. As military, you move about every 2 to 3 years, sometimes longer, sometimes less. And I didn't want to repeat that same thing for me as the person who's working there and trying to excel. And like what I do is kind of like down the tubes when I got to pick up and go to another place. And I also didn't want to put a company in that position. Like, granted, I know people quit all the time, but still, like, I want to be able to grow and like dig roots down somewhere, and I would prefer that. And I just don't like being, I don't know, it's just weird working somewhere when you know you most likely are going to have to leave every 2 to 3 years. Now, a lot of people don't even, like, even if you're not in the military, plan on leaving every 2 to 3 years. So that could just be like a me thing. But yeah, so I just kind of wanted to have something where if we had to move, I could pick it up and take it with me. And I think that that was like I think a lot of people feel that way. Like they want a life where they can pick it up and go. Like they don't have to be in one place. Maybe it's somebody's life dream to travel around the world and be able to work from their laptop, or someone's dream to be able to like travel to different states and like whatever. Like you just don't want to have to be rooted down to one place, and that's completely possible. And I think the key to like building the life that you want is simply believing. So at first I didn't believe. At first I thought, well, I can't really do this. Like why would, and what I'm talking about is YouTube. I don't think I said that yet. Basically, because I felt like YouTube, I was called to it in the beginning, but I never really believed that it was something that I could do like full-time, something that I could really make a difference with, something that would be worth the investment. And because there's a lot of upfront like investing that you do with YouTube, as far as like there's no like return on investment financially. Sometimes even like within your community, you don't really see a return on your investment for upwards to 3, 4, 5, 6 months with YouTube. So I basically just got to a point where I had to just believe in myself and bet on myself. And I feel like if you want to live a life that you love, if you want to live a life full of passion and full of happiness, you kind of have to just, you have to break away from what you previously learned and what you previously believed about yourself, and you have to listen to yourself. Like listen inwardly and listen to what the universe or God, whatever you want to call it. I do believe in God. I believe in a higher power. But even if you don't believe in God, like if you believe in a higher power, if you believe in energy, like listen to that. Listen to what you feel and follow that. And honestly, I know that people feel like, honestly, who cares what people feel? But I know that people feel like, you know, that's not like solid, that doesn't make sense, that doesn't work. Like how could you be successful off of something that you feel? But the thing is, like if you feel it within you, it's meant for you to do, and you'll always be successful doing what you're supposed to be doing. Honestly, it's harder to be successful in a space where you have no business being, because you're constantly trying to make things work. Things are constantly falling down. You're trying to pick them up and juggle everything at once. Whereas when you're operating in your passion, it kind of moves effortlessly, because this is what you're supposed to be doing. Like the universe is going to work in your favor. It's going to work with you to execute what you're trying to do, because this is what you were meant to do from Jump Street. You know what I mean? So basically, that's what I'm doing right now. And I just want to finish up my eyes, because if I don't, they will not get done, and we'll be here all day with half-finished makeup. Last thing on the makeup agenda is lip gloss. And I do put on a lip balm underneath my lip gloss. I use the EOS little like circle lip balms. I really like the coconut milk one. Actually, let me go get it so I can show it to you. So currently I use the EOS coconut milk lip balm, and it could be like a little bit more natural. It could be a little bit more moisturizing, but right now this is the best thing that I found at the drugstore. So this is what I use for lip balm. And then I will go in with my Fenty Beauty Universal Lip Voluminizer, something like that. I don't know. The Fenty Beauty lip gloss. And you truly do not need a lot of this. I've actually seen like a couple of you guys ask me what lip gloss I'm wearing in some of my videos. And the majority of the time it's this Fenty Beauty lip gloss. And then sometimes it's the Bite Beauty Agave lip mask that I'll wear like as a lip balm throughout the day. But yeah, I love this. So like I said, like what I'm doing right now is basically right now I'm living my dream life. And I really had to like step back and look at the fact that I am. Like at this time last year, it's February 2018, February 2017, I was really just trying to figure out like how can I live a life full of purpose that's on my own terms, where I can come and go as I please. I can do something that's intentional, but I can still like have a thriving family. I can be thriving as a person, and my business can be thriving. And I had absolutely no idea how I was going to make that happen. Actually, at the beginning of 2017, January 2017, one of my goals for the year was to open a business. And I tell you, I had no idea. I had no idea how to even make that possible. But October 2017, I opened up my business, and it just happened. Like things really kind of came together. We moved to Jacksonville. That was a very pivotal point in me opening up a business. Well, we moved to a space where I wanted to create something for myself and create something that I didn't have to throw away after 2 to 3 years. I could take with me wherever I went. And I say that to say that it doesn't matter that you don't know how you want to live your life or what you want to do or how you're going to get there. All that matters is that you feel it within inside you and you believe that it's possible, and then you start thinking that it's possible. You tell yourself that it's possible. The words that you say will manifest into actions, and you'll unintentionally do things that are going to lead you to that goal that you have or to that life that you want. You're going to run into people who are going to enrich you and instill in you knowledge or tips or resources that you had no idea you couldn't have found on your own to get you to the point that you want to get. And it just starts with believing. And it took me a long time. I wouldn't even say a long time, but when we first moved to Jacksonville, I wasn't in that mindset, like, because it was kind of abrupt. It was very like, okay, I'm up for orders, boom, we're moving to Jacksonville. The next month I'm done with my job, I quit my job, and we're in a whole nother state. I didn't have time for a mindset shift, and so I kind of like slipped into this area of like, I'm not doing what I've always thought I was supposed to be doing. This is what people have told me. I'm not working for a company. I'm not working to be the best at that company. I'm not, you know, a doctor, or I'm not in a situation where I'm constantly being judged. And that's kind of what I've thrived off of my whole life. Like, the fact that I know people are watching, it makes me want to do better. And I have done very well. Like in school, I graduated with honors, like cum laude or something like that. I don't even know how to say it, but I graduated with honors. I worked my way throughout school. I paid for everything by myself. I got out of school, got a really good job. I did very, very well for my age, especially like with the, honestly, like what I was making within that job. I was doing very, very well. So I've kind of always been on that linear way of life. And it really took a mindset shift to come out of that and to get down to like, well, but what do you want? Like, what do you feel you're supposed to do? And then execute a way to get to that point on my own with no outside like institution or social forces pushing on me and kind of molding me into what I should be doing. So yeah. Now I'm going to move on to my hair, and before I take this off, let me warn you guys, I've had these twists for almost 2 weeks. I think I've had them in for like 12 days. So they are very, very frizzy. They ain't the cutest, but they have been getting the job done because I've been very busy and haven't had time for my hair. And if my hair was loose during this whole 12-day period, it would be like full of knots and tangles and it wouldn't be pretty. And right now it's not the cutest, but it isn't like tangled too bad. So I'm about to untwist them. I think I'm just going to start with a section. I'm going to have to go really slow so I can pull out any shed hair along the way. The oil that I'm using is the Camille Rose Green Tea Latte, or the Herbal Tea Leave-In, excuse me. And it's an oil basically from their leave-in collection. I'm really loving this oil. It's kind of actually taking the place of Mael for me right now. I think because it's colder outside and it's thicker and more like viscous than the Mael oil. So that's what I've been using lately. But anyway, so let's see how this twist is. Hopefully it's not too tangled. So as my hair has been in twist, I have been moisturizing it. So I'll moisturize my hair with oil probably like once every day, sometimes once every 2 or 3 days. And then I also, when it was getting to a stage where it was getting really old, I would spritz my hair with some water and then moisturize it with the Onion Handmade Hairdo, which is so good on dry hair. And then I would seal it with the Camille Rose Naturals oil, and that would give me like more moisture than just water and oil. Really, my roots are what tangles up most when I leave my twist in for a long time, and this is actually pretty good considering. So this is my definition, and it looks pretty good. I think this twist out is going to turn out really good because my hair is old. It's going to be like super fluffy, and I think it's just going to be like very fluffy definition. So I'm excited for that. So the catalyst for me in living this life that like I do consider my dream life, and I had to sometimes we can have expectations that are like so high, and we can want something so bad that we don't take time to be grateful for the moment and the point of the process that we're in. And so I'm going to tell you guys, when I first moved to Jacksonville and I realized that I wanted to do something on my own, my goal was just to make a consistent income living my passion and you know, doing something that I felt was purposeful. And I kept saying that for months and months and months. I kept telling my mom and my husband that, and I just kept saying that until one day, probably, I don't know, maybe 3 months into living in Jacksonville, my mom was like, well, Kenya, I think you've done that. And I was just like, you're right. And I didn't think that I did. I didn't think that I had accomplished that goal, because I was thinking like, I want to be making tons and heaps and piles of money consistently. Like that was my idea of consistent income, where really it's an achievement in and of itself to make any type of like any amount of money consistently, doing something that you have no experience doing something that, you know, a year ago you were afraid to do, that you jumped into with really not really knowing how you were going to do it. Any amount is a success, because it shows you it can be done. It shows you that your dreams, like, they're not just dreams, they can be your actual life. Like, it validates the thoughts and the wishes that you have in your head to let you know this can manifest in reality. And yeah, so I was just learning. That's just something that I've learned. And I've learned a lot in the past like 6 months of just being on my own and trying to figure out this whole creative life. And I just want to let you guys know that whatever you want to do with your life is possible. Like, if you just take time right now to think about what makes you the most happy, what are you naturally good at, what do you naturally gravitate to, like what do you do in your spare time to relax, what's something that puts you at ease that you kind of use as an escape from any stressors that you have in your everyday. If you think about that, that could be your passion, that could be your purpose, that could be something that you could make a living off of doing, and you would be helping people by sharing that gift and talent with them, but you also would be helping yourself by being able to live a life that's full and being able to live a life that makes you happy. And yes, you would still have to work hard. Like, doing YouTube and being a content creative is hard, but like, it's work that's fulfilling, because at least you're putting all of that energy and all of that effort into something that's from you. You're putting it into yourself and not into another entity like a company or another person who's kind of taking your energy and using that to build their goals. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if that's what you feel like your passion is, if you're passionate about helping someone build their goals, then that's your area of passion. But if you're passionate about building your own goals and making your own like images in your head come to life, why not put all that energy and effort that you would put somewhere else into yourself? So if you just take a moment and think about what you love, and then after you realize and you pinpoint what you love to do and what would excite you to do every day, like, just believe that it is possible to do that and to sustain a life that may be even more rich than you are living now, a life that's better than what you have now. Even if your goal isn't to be like a YouTuber, maybe your goal is to be a psychiatrist, maybe your goal is to be the vice president of a company, or maybe your goal is to have your own photography agency, maybe your goal is to knit scarves for people and to sell your scarves. Like, whatever it is, just believe that that is possible and that you can create a life that you love with that. And that's truly like the first step into it. And just believing that it's possible for you, that you deserve it, that it's something that you're capable of, that it's something that you're worthy of. Because a lot of the times we don't go after the things that we want regardless of what they are, because we feel like we don't deserve them, when we do. And you don't have to do anything to deserve it. Simply because you want it, you deserve it. Like, if that's what you want for your life, you deserve to have that in your life, and move like you do deserve it, and you will have it. One of my goals in life, no matter what I'm doing, is to create a legacy. To create a legacy for my kids and to create a legacy for my grandchildren. Like, I want to pass something down. Like, I want what I'm doing to mean something to the people that are coming after me. And I feel like a way that you can do that is by having a business. Whether you have a side business or it's a full-time business, having a business and having something that gives you multiple streams of income besides just, you know, a job that you work or a 9 to 5, can make that dream or goal a reality. Because it is very hard to have something to pass down and be financially abundant on just one stream of income. Like, even if you do have a business, you still have to have multiple streams of income. So I just encourage you to make one of those streams of income your passion. Like, why not do something you love and get paid for it? So this is taking a little bit longer than I originally expected, because I am having to work through the tangles. But isn't this a cute style? Like, having your hair twisted up top in like a little bun or something, and then having like half of your hair out and untwisted. I think I'm gonna do that. Next time I twist my hair, I'm not gonna let it get so frizzy, and I'm going to like leave some twisted. I don't know, we'll see if that's a good style. I also feel like I told you guys that I had to go through a process, like a mindset shift, when I did decide that I wanted to basically change the course of my life and stop doing things I felt I had to do and start doing things that I genuinely wanted to do. And one of those things is kind of like shifting your mindset around like what success looks like, shifting your mindset around like what you think like a good person and a responsible person is. And this is also specific to you and like, you know, how you grew up and stuff like that. But I know like the way that I grew up, like it was kind of like a thing of you almost felt guilty when you weren't working all the time. Like if I'm not wearing my hair like that, but yeah, like you felt guilty like if you weren't up by a certain hour, like you would kind of get in trouble for not doing really the traditional thing, if I'm being honest. And so I kind of took that with me, and as I grew up, to me, like being productive was like working yourself to the bone. Like being productive was working non-stop, balls to the wall, like just constantly going and going and going and going. Like that was a good day. That meant that you were successful. That meant that you were doing what you're supposed to be doing. That meant you were being a responsible adult, when in reality it doesn't have to look like that. Being productive can mean going to do yoga for an hour before you start your day, taking some tea and having some time to read a book and really get your, you know, mind right for the day, and then working efficiently and effectively for 3 to 5 hours that day, doing what you need to do for that day, and then taking the rest of the day to pour into your family and pour into your friendships and your relationships that are going to help you, you know, grow. And I mean this in the sense of where I'm coming from now as a creative. Like working hard isn't always just constantly working, because in order to create content and to do the job where I want to, I wouldn't say do the job, but to effectively communicate to people the way that I want to communicate to, I have to be at a good spot. Because if I'm not in a good space, there's no way that I can really there's no way that I can do what I want to do effectively, because you guys will be able to see, like, you know, that my mindset isn't right. I couldn't come and make a video if my mindset wasn't together, you know? So like I basically had to learn that success isn't always what you've thought it to always be. Like success can be something completely different than what you thought it to be. Success doesn't have to be working at a job that you hate or doing something, not even that you hate. Sometimes it's just indifferent. Sometimes it's just something that you really genuinely don't care about it, but you work really hard to be good at it because it's something that's a good source of income, or it's something that you thought you always should be doing. Success doesn't have to be that. Success can be you working to develop a talent that you naturally have that you feel like can help the world. And maybe you don't make millions of dollars from it. Maybe you make a consistent, decent income from it, but that could be what success is to you. So like just thinking differently around like just ideals that you have about yourself and you have about your life can be very helpful in helping you to find and create the life that you want to live. Because truly for me, creating my dream life is creating a life that makes me happy. And that's not going to fit everyone, and it's not supposed to fit everyone. The point is that it truly fits me 100%. And you have to figure out what that is for you. So I'm going to untwist all of these, and then I'm going to come back and show you guys how my twist out came out. Cross your fingers that it comes out really good. Because I'm not going to do nothing with my hair if it doesn't come out good. I'm just going to throw it in a bun. So my hair came out better than I expected. So it is like way more voluminous than I thought it was going to be. It's like super voluminous. The definition is there, and it is also super frizzy, and I love that. So I'm pretty much ready to film my video that I had in mind for today. So thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video and spend this time with me. I hope you have a wonderful light-filled day, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.